And I would like to invite to share her views with us Mrs. Araz Chiloyan. One of the most important benefits of holding our meetings in different countries each time is the possibility to engage with local experts and stakeholders. I'm very glad that we can hear in more details about the situation in Armenia from the Mrs. Araz Chiloyan, who is very well placed to give us from an Armenian perspective, as she is an advisor to the Minister of Health. Mrs. Araz Chiloyan, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for the very warm welcome. I do want to note that I do have presentation slides. Thank you very much. Thank you again for having me today. I'm going to be speaking about two topics today. I'll be touching a little bit on COVID-19 vaccinations currently in Armenia, as well as routine immunizations and how that has been impacted over the last 2 years due to COVID. Is there a clicker by any chance? Okay, I can just continue because I have the slides on my end. They won't be displayed, but I can go ahead for the sake of time. So over the last 2 years, the world has been severely impacted by COVID-19, and I think every country has felt the effects of it. I think when we think about it, the best way to look at it is to look at its both positive and negative impacts, because there have been both. And I'll start off by listing off a few things that Armenia has seen to be positive for itself. The first one, okay, great. So the first one, I think a lot of countries have seen this. It allowed for faster identification of healthcare gaps. There was a lot of issues that were present before, but I think COVID kind of ripped it wide open, and we were able to really see what were the issues. And with that being said, I think it also allowed us to expedite reforms, because we realized what the issues were, and we worked harder to resolve them. And it also allowed for very successful collaboration, which I will get into a little bit later, but it allowed for collaboration with EU member states, Eastern Partnership, as well as WHO and other national, international stakeholders within Armenia. The Zoom format really made it accessible for everybody. We were able to break down those geographical barriers and be able to utilize our resources in our regions as well as in our diaspora. And it reconfirmed the priorities that we had prior to the pandemic, that these were reforms that needed to be done, and it reaffirmed those notions. Some of the negative impacts was the postponement of the non-COVID care. Impact on mental health was quite large. There was our healthcare system constantly functioning in an emergency situation, which led to mental health concerns and burnout of healthcare workers, and it also negatively had its impact on routine immunization. So Armenia's routine immunization, if we look at the last 4 years, there has been an overall increase in routine immunization, childhood vaccinations for 1-year-olds, and we have seen a slight decrease in those for age of 2 and age of 6 as well. When comparing 2018 to 2021. There was a significant decrease in 2020, as many countries saw, due to COVID-19, but since then we've seen an increase in our immunizations bouncing back. We did notice a decrease in Armenia in Q1, Q2 of 2021, and we utilized some of the vaccination campaign efforts and pushed it more towards routine immunization so that we could get those numbers back up to what it was prior to the pandemic. And I think it's important to note that the government of Armenia approved the national immunization program for 2021-2025 back in December 2020, and it really prioritizes the childhood immunization, and It falls in line with the WHO vaccination calendar, and we have consistently worked with WHO as well as UNICEF to make sure that our numbers are where they should be. As with COVID-19, we see this in routine immunizations as well. I'll start off by talking a little bit about vaccine hesitancy for COVID-19. Armenia specifically has completed multiple behavioral insight studies with the help of WHO as well as the American University of Armenia. We have been able to target a lot of our vaccination campaign based off of the insight that we have received, and that has allowed for much more successful targeting, and it has encouraged vaccination significantly. I think in order to combat vaccine hesitancy, there's a big importance on transparency, so making sure that we're providing the most accurate information, making sure that we are also providing adverse event information so that our population is fully aware of all the information that's available. And then another thing that has significantly helped with vaccine hesitancy has been training of healthcare workers. WHO has held many sessions in collaboration with our National Center of Disease Control and National Institute of Health to help train our doctors, those that are dealing with patients with immunization, to have the right, to know the right way to discuss vaccinations with them, to engage them actively, address their concerns, and have meaningful conversations that will hopefully lead to vaccination. There are plenty of lessons that we have learned from COVID. I think a really big one is the intergovernmental cooperation. It's key in combating any emergency or any wide-scale emergency. Disinformation does spread quite quickly, so I think it's important to be able to provide most accurate and timely information immediately so that things don't go the wrong way and the conversation continues in a positive light. And engaging community and grassroots organization has also been a very important lesson that we've learned. Going to those trusted community leaders, really talking to them about what it is we're trying to get across with our vaccination campaign, and then becoming champions and being able to promote it within their communities is very critical, and we do think that we can continue to use that when it comes to routine immunizations to continue to raise our rates. And then having that well thought out strategy. I think in the beginning of COVID, a lot of things were very, very unclear, but over the last 2 years, things are much more clear, and it's clear which direction we're going in, and to be able to develop a well thought out strategy, not only for COVID, but also for routine immunizations, to have a better plan for how to deal with drops, etc. And I just want to take the time to note that we've had very successful cooperation, as I mentioned, with WHO through the Solidarity for Health initiative. We were able to successfully scale testing capacity during COVID-19. We were able to keep our frontline responders safe with the necessary equipment, PPE. We were also able to improve data collection and reporting. Armenia's ARMED health data system was updated with the help of WHO, with the collaboration of WHO, and we were able to make some modifications to have it be more friendly for policymaking. And the risk communication and community engagement was also incredibly important, and WHO collaborated with us very effectively. The vaccine donations that we have received over the last year have also been immensely helpful. Armenia has received a lot of donations, and majority of the vaccines that we have in the country, that we have brought into the country, have been through donations. And so for that, we have been extremely thankful, and we hope that we can continue collaborating and cooperating together in the future. And then moving forward, I think it's important to note that continuing to collaborate is the most successful way to change things in a positive way. And so improving affordability and access to health is something that's very important, and we want to continue working in that direction. Being better prepared for emergencies, as COVID showed us, there's always room for improvement. And continuing to collaborate on vaccination schedules and vaccine stock, as that has continued in Armenia's case to be an issue for COVID-19. And I just want to finish off with this saying that it is through solidarity and collaboration that we are going to overcome this pandemic. Our lessons learned and stronger working relationships that we have built over these last 2 years can go beyond COVID-19 to reduce the incidence of all non-communicable diseases as well, and not just COVID. And with that, I'll end. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Araz Chiloyan, for your very informative, well-structured presentation.